Hello all, Dr. Fox back here with you, the weekend update. We've got all kinds of little things going on here. We're going to just touch on a few of what we call bullet points, and we'll get into this, right? Yeah, exactly. All right, Dr. Fox back here with you with a weekend update. First part of March, how you holding up? You getting through that? We have patch 9.0.5 dropping this Tuesday, at least for the Americans. Wednesday for the EU, and then Thursday for Asia. So we'll get into all that stuff here in mere moments as well. So I hope you all are holding up okay. Oh, so much to talk about. I'll get into that as we get into that later as we continue 9.0.5. Now it's not 9.1. That's when flying's coming. Just to clarify, that should be still a few months out. Possibly closer to at least summer for us here in the US. So with that, we've got 9.0.5. That's going to have everything from tuning, fixes in it, bug fixes. We're getting those valor points is going to help you upgrade. But for those that are getting a raid item this week, it won't count this week. It will start counting next week, if you follow my meaning for that. Let's see. We of course the Wandering Ancient mount that has been coming out. That is our free mount. No, thank God, goodness sakes, no charge for that. So that will drop just by logging in, starting after 9.0.5 goes live. As well. If you hit your Covenant Renowned, there'll be some new anima. That 1,000 weekly, it's going to turn in, instead of getting Renowned for it, it's going to turn into 1,500 gold as a reward as well. Let's see, the same level. Finally, yeah, the keystones, they're going to be staying right around the same level now. When you complete one, specific dungeon for that keystone, you'll actually get an item level for that instead of it being like a few levels down, or that should come together. As a quick side note, I don't normally talk about religion, politics, and the Great Pumpkin. Just a quick heads up. Oh, for goodness sakes. Again, and there's going to be controversy. First off, no matter what you say, there's always a rebuttal to it. Even if it seems sensible enough, there seems to still be a rebuttal for that aspect. With that said, it's just really sad. I'm just, once again, being an advocate for this. In politics, once again, they're throwing around trans girls from sports being pulled out of certain ones. And then there's the science debate about the hormones and the extra muscle and too strong and all these aspects. I'm not going to pick your poison. But I just wanted to touch on that aspect this week, seeing that's getting a lot of buzz. I just wanted to mention that very briefly before we shift gears, come back, share your thoughts if you so desire. If you don't and you're like that, I'm good on that. And then we'll keep on cranking through here into spring, at least in the US. And we'll talk about that shortly, about the spring and things coming up for me very, very soon as well. So with that, with the cross realm mythic, I'm gonna call it Castle N. The opening there, the Hall of Fame, is now cross roaming, and in my opinion, a few others I know, having that finally allow you to merge factions, if you will, so you can start playing with Horde and Alliance, and then someone will go, blasphemy, Horde Alliance is what makes World of Warcraft. And yeah, well, we'll have to see. I mean, as those player numbers dwindle, I think they're gonna need to integrate. I'm not gonna get into that. There's a whole controversy on that. So again, see, rebuttal for everything. There's always going to be, it seems like, until people can change that thought process and integrate into something else as well. So I think we're gonna just touch on that. That'd be kind of that's just a wish. That's not saying it's gonna actually happen. It might. There's been talk of it, and they did mention it again during BlizzCon. This comes up quite often about being able to do that as well. Keystone Master, as well. What do y'all think about that? Feel free to share your thoughts on it as well, allowing you also to, for those that are working on that sort of achievement. I sadly have not had time to be plugging away at that one. I think I just hit Renown 40 with my main character right there. She's just bouncing around right now on screen. I should hit, I'm darn close to 40. I know I hit, I think 38. And I'm so close. I hope I get my 2 this week, and then bam, or at least 1 this week, and then later in the week when I go for the 250 Elite Anima boost, I hope I'll pop it. I hope at least by this time, I hope next weekend update, let me put it that way. Which by then, by the way, also coming up, as I'll talk about calendar shortly, is we're going to be jumping ahead this time next week for the spring as well. So we're right around the corner for that. And we just wanted to touch on that. Huge congratulations going out to Hazelnutty to partner with NZXT. Wait, am I saying that right? Or sorry, flip the letters. NZXT. Excuse me. The Z becomes the sort of backward E. So a big congrats on being partnershiping through that Hazelnutty. So a big shout out to your fellow streamer, and that's awesome. Hey, we'll send our awesome empowerment that way, right? Exactly. That's what we're hoping for. And then, of course, a few months out, as we mentioned, for those curious about like end of season, no worries. That's not ending on 9.0.5. It's ending on 9.1. So, whoops, my elbows are shaking my cameras here. I get all excited. That the end of season for those is not going to be done until probably closer to summer, when we have, and usually they drop about a week or so prior. They'll say, you know, that they'll let us know that 9.1 is coming in. When we get to 9.1, that is the more storyline and being able to fly in Shadowlands and things like that. Some of the big stuff I'm looking forward to as well. So let's shift gears. We're gonna get into the calendar here. Let's pull right on in. Take a quick look. As the calendar is loading, I'll kind of just briefly touch on my things over here. It's been very stressful. Things seem to be happening with the house right now. I'm not going to get into all the details. Like I said, I can't really... I want to make sure. I know we've signed the agreements and stuff like this that I'm sort of hinting at or leading up to, but I've signed agreements before and then those fizzled out. So I just want to make sure. All I'm saying is things are slowly plugging away for that. That's going to be wrapping up very soon. I should be able to hear more definitive answers about that as we approach either the end of March or after Easter or within a few weeks. It depends. There's a lot of things right now up in the air that I'm working with, and I'm trying to work with another couple of individuals about trying to get financing on my end for things, and that's not, I don't know. I don't want to say not looking good, but long story. With that said, there's a lot of other stresses around here I'm getting. I'm not going to get too much into them. I try to keep most people's private lives out of it. It's been very stressful with coming from a lot of different ways. I'm struggling with some other things right now. I know we all have our struggles. At least I try to get up every day, and I keep staying empowered, and I keep trying to keep working at different things. A lot of people give up and go, oh, the world hasn't felt right since I lost, this person or that person. Trust me, it's been tough on me for more than almost 2 decades now. That's right, my love. Yeah. But then you think, well, then that kind of alludes to anyone that you saw come into your life, and there's moments you get that. It's like a tree that expands out, and then you think part of your life is reigniting, and then things happen, and it's getting, and then you spend your life trying to help, and you think you've got. Well, you want to always think you don't have certain aspects. I'm alluding on very, very being a bit aloof on a lot of these aspects, just because there's a lot of I'm trying to say it in a more broader way, if you follow my meaning. If you're not following, my apologies. I'm just trying to touch on a few things that usually I'm broad because it allows us to look at everything going on, whether it can relate or not relate, if you follow my meaning. And with that, as we always try to say with advice, we kind of step back and we go, okay, let's see. This week I'm going to try to do, you know, I've always liked that. I like to give myself little mini goals to look forward to. It keeps the momentum going for me, and when other individuals don't find a little time to offer their help to somebody or get out, and they become very selfish, and we're supposed to be trying to be work, but it's hard when we try to say you'd think we're out here all trying to work together, but we're not, because so many other, there's just so many aspects that come from different ways and different views and different lifestyles and all these pieces that we have to try to step back from. And it's a very complex circumstance, and it's really sad it has to be so complex. Within reason. I think everything within reason, and I think if we try to just step back for a minute when we get into that moment, a lot of times folks like to go from 0 to 10 and before they react, and then others, it all varies. There's just so much going on there, and when you have this overwhelmingness, and you can't just say, find a friend to talk to. That's not always easy to do. You can't just say, go find a therapist. You're not always covered. There's a lot of imperfections. I'm not saying in the system, not people, within reason. It's just complex. Let me just kind of leave it in that aspect. There's some other things I'm trying to work on over here too. Like I said, a lot of stuff is really in the air right now. On a quick side note, before we jump into calendar, I'm excited. They have had a few decent arcade archives on sale recently for a couple bucks. Normally I just stick to emulation, but that's just something on the Nintendo Switch I wanted to, because those know I also mention brief news sometimes about this. Not always, but I like to mention that. And I saw a few recently that were pretty good ones. And again, everyone's pretty good ones. It all varies from person to person what the gameplay they like and things like that. And speaking of gameplay, we're going to segue real quick as we move into calendar. Speaking of calendars and gameplay, we are plugging away. We are still in phase 1. We may be shifting to phase 2 pretty soon, but I know it's a struggle when you're working with programmers. The scheduling, when you're not living in the same area, makes it challenging. Let me put it that way. And trying your best to kind of work around said schedule, it can be a bit challenging. And some will say, let's take that challenge on head first. But I'm just going to leave it at that. It's a challenging thing, and some would say, well, if you didn't get the project underway, you won't expect your challenges. But again, see, rebuttal for everything. So anyway, I think that kind of pulls us back. We're going to just touch on our calendar this week as well. And of course, those that need that extra 10% buff this week, while say maybe you're leveling, or the 10% rep buff that you're working on, Dark Moon Fair's gone live, so you can go ahead and check out Dark Moon Fair. That will be a little extra oomph if you need that. If you're still looking for some old transmogs down there, I know I was tidying up a couple for some of my different variant characters as well. We've got Torghast Unbridged Darkness. That's going to be beginning once again. The PvP Brawl, Temple of Hot Mugu. That's going to be ending. That's wrapping up this week as well. World Quest bonus. That's also ending for those that need that little extra World Quest bonus that we mentioned last Sunday. If you caught my got that as well, and then that will kind of get us underway for 9.0.5. And with some of the changes we touched on earlier, that should kind of get you off and running. And I think with that, we're going to kind of wrap things up. So I hope you have another week. We're, at least up here in New England, we're starting to pull out of the freezing a little bit more regularly now. We're almost there, at least for our mid-state up here. We're almost there, trying to hang through. It's not quite been so simple. It's a challenge when you have to do some boondocking, but that is a challenging day in conversation for a different day. But with that, I think, take two things, contemplating you as you shift gears a little bit into a couple degree more better, warmer temps, at least in this region, depending where you are. And of course, it's mostly shifting your other season on the other side of the world. Stay safe, call me in the morning, and then once again, yes, we will see you later.